Hi class, today we're going to talk about the ellipse and the hyperbola. You will see that we have two types of hyperbola and two types of ellipse. This one right here, you see the horizontal. This one has horizontal major axis and this one has a vertical major axis. So one is the sideway and one is the vertical. This is what you have for the standard form. So when you see the standard form right here, you can recognize the center right away, which is HK. Notice that H always go with X and K always go with Y. And then you have the vertice, you have the endpoint, and you have the foci as well. So let's try to work out some problems. So what I need is the center. In order for us to graph the ellipse, we need the center first. So you can see that the center in this case is 2 and -3. Okay, so notice that we have y minus -3 here. That's why you see y plus 3. So the center, you locate the center and notice that this is a square and this is b square. So a is going to be plus and minus 5 and b is going to be plus and minus 4. I always use A for X and B for Y. So I really don't care about the major or the minor. The major, of course, is the larger one, and the minor is the smaller one. So I just use A and B with X and Y. Um, Now, so first you locate the center. You look the center in this case is 2, -3. So it's right here. Now, for X, you move sideways. So you're going to move left, right 5 times. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then for Y, because it's plus and minus 4, you move up and down 4 times, 4 units. So 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then you draw the ellipse. This one is quite easy because you see we have the standard form. Sometimes we don't have the standard form. Now, in order for us to have standard form, what you need is 1 right here. And you can see that we have 100. So the first thing we need to do is we need to rewrite so we can get 1. So how do we do that? We're going to divide everything by 100. So now our new equation is going to be x squared over 4 plus y squared over 25 equals 1. Okay, so hopefully you can tell right away the center is 0, 0 in this case, and for this one, A is going to be plus and minus 2, B is going to be plus and minus 5. So from the center, I'm going to move left, right 2 units. I'm going to move up, down 5 units. And there we have it. Okay. So now this one you see right here, we do not have 1. And then not only that, we have the coefficient in front, these number. Okay. So you see right here, we do not have coefficient. Okay. So the standard form, you can see that we don't have the coefficient in front except for 1, 1, and 1. So what we have to do is we have to rewrite the equation so we can get it into standard form. So how do we do it? We're going to complete the square. So how do we complete the square? So first, I'm going to put x together. And I put y together. Equals -25. Now notice that for x we do have 1 for the coefficient, but we don't have it for y. So the first thing you need to do is you need to factor it. So I'm gonna rewrite and factor out the 16. So I have x squared plus 10x plus 16. Factor it out, so I have y squared plus 2y equals negative 25. Okay? Now we're going to complete the square, right? So in order to complete the square, you take b, you divide by 2, you square it. Okay? So I'm going to rewrite b divide by 2 and square it. So what do I have? 10 divided by 2 is 5. 5 squared is 25. So I have to add 25 over here. Okay, this one right here, 2 divided by 2 is 1, 1 squared is 1. However, you are not supposed to add 1 on the other side because don't forget you have the 16 outside of the parenthesis. So technically you have 16 times 1 here. So you're going to have to add 16 over here. So now we're gonna factor. So what I have is x plus 5 squared plus 16 y plus 1 squared equal 16. Now you see that we do not have 1. So what can I do? I'm going to have to divide 16, 16, and 16 for everything. Okay, so our new equation is x plus 5 squared over 16 plus y plus 1 squared over 1 equals 1. Now you can see the center is negative 5, negative 1. Okay, and we move up, down, left, right 4, up, down 1. So this is A and this is B. Okay, so from the center, negative 5, negative 1, I'm going to move left, right 4, and up, down 1. And that's it. That's how we do it. Okay, so keep in mind the horizontal and the vertical. So what we have right here, they're asking you now to give you the equation, but they're asking you for the center, the vertices, and the foci. So the center is easy to figure it out. The center is 5 and negative 2. How do we find the vertices? So you see right here, for vertices, we either have h plus and minus a or k plus and minus a. So how do we know if we have vertical or horizontal? Based on the equation, you can see that we have 100 for y, right? So we do have vertical major axis. So what we have for the vertices is so y is gonna change. So we're gonna have this type right here, this one right here. So we keep h. I keep h, which is 5. And then I have negative 2 plus and minus 10. Okay, so what do I have? I have 2 vertices. So I have 5. Negative 2 plus 10 is 8. And I have negative 2 minus 10 is 12. So I have 2 answers for the vertices. Now, moving on to the foci. So the foci, we have H, and then same thing because we're dealing with the vertical major axis. So we have K plus and minus C. So we're going to have to figure out C. What we know about C is C squared is going to be A squared minus B squared. So in this case, C squared is 100 minus 36, which is 64. So C is going to be plus and minus 8, but because C is the distance, so I'm just going to write the positive one. And then for the foci, you see right here, we have K plus and minus C. So I keep H is 5. And then we have K is negative 2 plus and minus 8. So what I have for the foci is going to be 5, negative 2 plus 8 is 6. 5, negative 2 minus 8 is negative 10. For number 5, some informations are given and we are asked to find the equation of the ellipse. So notice that they give you the two foci and that give you the major axis of length. They didn't tell you whether it's going to be vertical or horizontal. However, if you, I always try to locate the foci. So you see that the foci is negative 1, 6. So let's just say negative 1, 6 is right here. Negative 1, 0 has to be down here. So you see that the center has to be right here in the middle of the two foci. So you can tell that the major axis for this problem is going to be vertical. So we have something like this for our vertice. Now, how do we figure out all the information? So you see that this is the center, this is negative 1, 6, and this is negative 1, 0. So this one has to be negative 1, and it's going to be the midpoint of 6 and 0, which is 3. Now, if you really want to calculate, you take 6 plus 0 divided by 2, right? So that's how you get 3. So we got the center. Now we're going to use the fact that major axis of length is 10. The major axis, which is this length right here, and then we know it's 10. So based on that, let's just write down the information that we have so far. So I have x plus 1 square plus y minus 3 square. And I know the major axis is vertical, so it's gonna be it's gonna go with y. Okay. Now the major axis has the length of 10, so you're gonna have to do that, and you're gonna have to take that divide by 2. I always label A for x and B for y, so you can see that 2b is 10, therefore b is 5. So you see b squared is going to be 25. All we need right now is take care of a squared. But we do know that c squared is going to be the major minus the minor. So what I have, for C is the focal length of the ellipse. So it's gonna be from here to here, from here to here. So this whole thing is gonna be 2C. So from here to here is gonna be C. So what's that? from here to here, you see we go from 6 to 3, so C is 3. It's the distance. So if you take a look at from here to here, 3 to 0 is still 3. So we know that C is going to be 3. So what I have is 3 squared. B squared is 25. Minus a squared. So what I have for a squared is going to be 25 minus 9, which is 16. So now I know a is 4. So we completed. So what we have is x plus 1 squared over 16 plus y minus 3 squared over 25 equals 1. Moving on to hyperbola, the big difference between hyperbola and ellipse is the subtraction right here. So for ellipse, we have the addition, but for hyperbola, you have the subtraction. So what comes first is very important. So you see right here, we have y comes first. That means your hyperbola is going to go along the y-axis. If x comes first, your hyperbola is going to go along the x-axis. So I have it down here for you. You see right here, x comes first. So we have the hyperbola go along the x-axis here. Okay. All right. Going back to our current problem. So first, we locate the center. And I always say that B goes with Y and A. You see right here, even though they don't write down, we should. So we have A squared is going to be 1. So I know that B is going to be plus and minus 4 and A is going to be plus and minus 1. Now, to the center, we look at the same way. So HK. However, very important. A lot of people make mistake when Y comes first, but H always go with X. So your center for this one is actually 4 and negative 3. So keep that in mind. So what I have right here is 4 and negative 3. I'm gonna just locate the center. And for y, we're going to go up, down. And for x, we're going to go left, right. I'm going to draw something I call a rectangle. So for y, up, down, it's going to be 4 and 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then for a, we're going to go left, right, just 1. So here and here. And then, like I said, I'm going to draw the rectangle. From the rectangle, we're going to draw something called the asymptote. So those are the diagonal of the rectangle. So you have to follow this order. So first, you have to make the rectangle. With that rectangle, I wouldn't be able to get the asymptote. So now I got the asymptote. Now, based on the asymptotes, I'm going to draw my hyperbola. And don't forget, it's going to go along the y-axis because y's come first. So you always start right here. Never start from the center. So you start on the rectangle. And the whole point of drawing the asymptote means a line that your graph approaching but never touched. And there you have it. So that's going to be the hyperbola. That's the standard form of the hyperbola. How do we know the standard form? Just like ellipse, you need 1 here. Okay, so since we don't have 1 for this one, I'm going to have to divide everything by 36. So now I'm ended up with x squared over 9 minus y squared over 36 and 1. You can see that for this problem, x comes first. So I know that my hyperbola is going to be the sideway one. Now, we're going to locate the center. So this one is just 0, 0. And then I have to draw the rectangle. So for x, we're going to go left, right, 3 units because this is 3 square. This is 6 square. Okay. So left, right, 3, right here. And then up, down, 6. And then once again, I need to draw the rectangle. And based on the rectangle, I'm going to draw the asymptote, which is the diagonal. And now I'm ready to draw the hyperbola. Now don't forget this is a sideway one, so I start from the rectangle and go to the asymptote, approaching the asymptote. Approaching the asymptote. Okay? So that's how we work with hyperbola. Now, you see the other problems is easy. Even though it's not standard form, but it's still easy. You can just simply divide. For something like this, you're gonna have to do more work because we do not have 1 for the coefficient. What you have is 25 and 16. Okay, so we're gonna have to complete the square. So just like ellipses, we're gonna complete the square. So how do I complete the square? First, I need to rearrange something. So I'm going to put x together. 25x squared plus 50x minus 16y squared plus 32y equals 391. Now you see that I have 25, so I'm going to have to factor out the 25 plus 2x. I have to do the exact same thing for y. Now don't forget you have to factor out the negative. So I have negative 16 out, y squared minus 2y, 391. Now we're going to complete the square. You're going to take b, divide by 2, take b, divide by 2, and square it. So in this case is plus 1. Now don't forget that we're adding 1 here. We have to add the same number. But if you add 1 to this side, that would be wrong because 1 is inside the parenthesis and you have the 25 as a coefficient right there. So we have to add 25. Okay. Now we're going to do the exact same thing for y. So I'm going to take negative 2, divide by 2 is negative 1. Negative 1 squares 1. But over there, instead of adding 1, I have negative 16 times 1. So I have to subtract 16. Now what we have is x plus 1 squared minus 16 y minus 1 squared equals, and then we're going to calculate it. It's going to be 400. Okay. Now I'm going to divide everything by 400 to make it 1. So what we have is x plus 1 squared over 16 minus y minus 1 squared over 25 equals 1. Okay. Now you can see that the center is negative 1, 1. Okay. So I'm going to locate the center. So it's negative 1, 1 right here. And then for x, left, right is going to be 4 because 16 is 4 square. 25 is 5 square. So 4 square, we have 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then up, down 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then I draw the rectangle. After I draw the rectangle, I get to do the diagonal. And then I'm gonna get my hyperbola. So this time my hyperbola is gonna be along the x-axis because x comes first. Let me put it this way, x is positive. So whatever is positive, okay? So if y is positive, then you have to go along the y-axis. If the x is positive, then you go along the x-axis. And that's how we graph the hyperbola. Now, what if they give you the equation and they're asking for all the information? So what you have for the center is still hk. So it's going to be 4, negative 1. Okay. Now you can see that 9. You can see that we have y plus 1 square. We have x minus 4 square, which is the horizontal transverse axis, right? So I have I have the vertice is going to be h plus and minus a. So what I have is going to be 4 plus and minus a in this case is 2. B is 3. Okay, so what I have is 4 plus and minus 2, negative 1. So the answer is going to be 6, negative 1, and 2, negative 1. For the foci, you see right here, for the foci, we have h plus and minus c, and c squared is a squared plus b squared. So I need to figure out that. So I'm going to put it over here. C squared equals 4 plus 9, which is 13. So c is going to be square root of 13. Okay, so we have plus and minus, we have h plus and minus c. So what I have, I can't really simplify, so I'm just going to have to write down the whole thing. So I have 4 plus square root of 13, negative 1, and 4 minus square root of 13, negative 1. For the asymptote, you see that we have y plus and minus, y equals plus and minus b over a. So what I have is 3 over 2 plus and minus 3 over 2 x minus 4 minus 1. Okay, and if you simplify it, you ended up with 2 different equations. So what if I simplify it? I'm going to end up with 3 half x minus 7 or y equals to negative, if I use the negative 3/2, I'm going to end up with plus 5. For number 10, we have to find the equation given the foci and the vertices. So first, we should locate all of those points. So you see that the foci is 1, 6 and 1, 10. So it's right here. 110. Those are the foci, and the vertices is 1, 7 and 1, 9. So this is 1, 7, and this one is 1, 9. All right. So based on this, you can tell that we have the parabola, the hyperbola. I'm sorry, the hyperbola, like this. Okay. All right. So what is the center right here? So the center is gonna be the distance. Is gonna be the midpoint of the two foci. You see that one doesn't change. So we know that h is going to be 1. And then for k, all we have to do is take 10 plus 8. 10 plus 6, I'm sorry, 10 plus 6 divided by 2, which is 8. So we know that h is 1 and k is 8. Now, what I need to figure it out is A and B. So you see that because we have it, we have the vertical transverse axis. So I know that y is going to be positive. So what I have right here is going to be y minus 8 squared minus x minus 1 squared equals 1. So I need to figure out the number below y and the number below x. So for a, okay, a is gonna be um, the point from the vertex to the focus. You see right here. So we have from 10 to 9, that's 1, right? From 7 to 6, that's also 1. So we know that a is going to be 1. Therefore, a squared is still 1. So what I have, a is 1. Now, how do I figure out b? We need to remember the fact that c squared is a squared plus b squared. Now, c is the distance. Let me just write down the center. Okay. So c is the distance from the center to the focus. Either focus is good. So you see we have from here to here is 2. From here to here is 2 as well. So C is 2. Therefore, we have 2 squared equals 1 squared plus B squared. So you see that B squared is 3. So you have all the information. Now we can just write y minus 8 squared over a squared is 1 minus x minus 1 squared over, and b squared is just 3. And that's how you write the equation. Now, for number 11, they give you something else. They give you the foci and they give you the asymptotes. So still, we should locate the foci Now the foci is 0, negative 15, and then 0, 15. Okay? So we know that the center is right here. Now you see that we have, let's say if this is the vertice, then we know it's gonna be the center. We know the center is gonna be 0, and then how do I know the number for y? All I have to do is take 15 plus negative 15 divide by 2. So you can see that we have 0. Okay, now based on what we see with all the points, so you can tell that we have the hyperbola like this, the hyperbola like this. Okay, so I know that y is going to be positive. I know the center is going to be 0, 0. To find a and b, we're going to use the fact that the asymptote is y equals to 1 half x and negative 1 half x. So you can see that the slope a over b is 1 half. I'm just going to use the positive values. So if a over b is 1 half, then we have a equals, I'm going to move b over, so it's going to be 1 half b. Now don't forget that we have c squared equals to a squared plus b squared. Okay, so what I have over there in the note. Now we know c is the distance from the center to the focus. So I know that c is 15. It's the distance from the center to the focus. From the center to the focus. So it's 15. So I'm going to use everything and plug it in. So what we have, the problem that we have right here is we have two variables. So I'm gonna go ahead and rewrite everything using just one variable. So I'm gonna square it. Okay, so what we have is c squared equals to a squared plus b squared, but c squared is 15 squared equals a squared is 1 half b squared plus b squared. So I just use the fact that this one equals to that one. We want to have just one variable so we can solve it. I can't really solve with two variables. I need two equations for it. Okay, so what do we have here? 1 half b squared, I'm sorry, 1/4, because we just square it. So after we square, we should get 1/4. I'm sorry about that. So 1/4 b squared plus b squared is going to be 5/4 b squared. Okay, so what I have is 225. 15 squared is 225 equals 5/4 b squared. So solving it, I'm going to multiply 225 by the reciprocal, which is 4 over 5. I should get b squared. So 225 multiplied by the reciprocal. I'm going to guess 180 for b squared. So b squared is 180. Okay. Now, I'm going to go back and solve for a squared. We know that c squared is 225 minus 180 is going to be 45. So we have everything now. So we have, don't forget, this is for the y, so I'm going to have to put y squared first over 45 minus x squared over 180 equals 1. So that's my equation.